So this last summer I was working for 3 months in Uganda in the Millenium Village project in the village of Ruhira, which is in southwestern Uganda. And the Millenium Village project is an initiative taken up by the Earth Institute out of Columbia University. And they started in 2005, 2006, and it's connected to the Millennium Development Goals. And the idea behind the Millennium Villages is that you can't just invest in singular aid projects, say that focus on HIV/AIDS only or malaria eradication only. All of these sectors that we think of in different silos, they're really all interconnected. And so, for example, if you are looking at an education project and you want to see if it's successful or not, are children going to school? Well, it's not just about, is the education project that you're funding good enough? You also have to think, are children healthy enough to attend school? Do they have lots of responsibilities at home where they have to carry water? Is the water far away? Is there easy water access? So all of these different sectors that we sometimes think about, health, gender, education, and infrastructure, they're interconnected in the Millennium Villages project. So there's 17 different villages around Africa. The one that I was in Uganda, in Ruhira, it started in 2006, and they found a lot of really significant improvements that have occurred from 2006 until the present day, just in all the diversity of interventions that they've taken. I was working with the infrastructure team, and particularly the intersection of infrastructure and community development. So we noticed that there's a lot of new water projects that were made during the last 5 years of the project, and it's really improved people's access to clean, safe water. There's fewer incidences of waterborne disease now, and like in general water-washed disease as well. So like things like lice and scabies that children often get if they don't have proper access to hygienic and to clean water. Those were way down, so there were lots of improved health outcomes. And I was working though because we noticed that some communities were sort of caring for these water sources better than others, and we wanted to understand why that was happening. So every place where we had, where a new water source or had been cleaned or improved, we had put in place a committee, a water committee, and it was their job to make sure that the area was properly maintained and children weren't allowed to run and animals couldn't defecate in the area or agricultural activities couldn't be done in the area right surrounding the water source. And an interesting finding that we had was that of those different water sources, the committees where at least 2, if not more, of the members were women were much more successful and were doing a much better job of keeping the area clean. And of course, it's sort of a no-brainer because women in Uganda are the workhorses, and they are the ones who go to the water sources every day and are collecting water and are more likely to sort of police the children and even police each other or shame each other if somebody isn't maintaining the water source properly. So we did go to one water pump where it was all men on the committee, and they had just come from an afternoon of drinking, which is a common activity in most afternoons that the Ugandan men sit around and drink a local alcohol, very strong grain alcohol called waraji, and they were pointing out all the things that they knew that were wrong, but that they really had no desire to fix, and instead, of course, they were spending their time drinking. So this was going forward. We started holding more and more community awareness meetings and encouraging people, if they noticed that their water sources were not being cared for properly, to maybe consider re-electing new committees, and to definitely have a quota of a number of women that would be placed on each of these committees. And then we provided them with some education, everything they needed to know on how to maintain the water sources so that it would provide them with cleaner water for their children, and long after the project is gone, so that that's something that they know how to do, and that they're able to make it a sustainable that it's a sustainable source of clean water for their families for years to come.